We went camping a little over a week and a half ago, and the weather was really hot and humid. We had a great storm with purple lightning for 3 nights in a row. It was beautiful to see the purple lightning above us. On the second night, my daughter and I were outside relaxing. They had gone to sleep around 11 p.m., and we had the exterior light on, so it was clear enough to see. It looked like a mass of tadpoles, only it was made of fog. I rubbed my eyes, and my daughter asked if I had seen the black fog. I said yes, and she started to get scared because what she described was what I saw. We watched it move towards the trees to our right. I tried to play it down after she got scared. I haven't seen anything like it since, and I don't know what it was. We're still camping here, and everything has been calm on the weirdness scale, but I just want to know what the heck that fog was. In my hometown, there is a huge lake, a large and desolate place ideal for camping, fishing, and hunting. For context, I live in Norway, where we have something called the right of access, which basically means you can roam freely wherever you want in the country, as long as it's not private property. Because of this, Norwegians love to walk in nature, and with so much space for everyone, people generally don't gather in crowds. My friend and I were planning a camping trip. We were going to take a boat up the river and head to an island in the middle of the lake. When we got there, we found an ideal spot, probably previously used by other campers. Something that unsettled me a bit was a northern pikehead hanging in a tree next to a campfire. It was enormous and stared at the campsite with its dead, dry eyes. The real event happened after dark. We had been sitting around the campfire for hours, eating, drinking, and chatting. This happened in the summer, and summers in Norway aren't very dark due to its geographical location, but around 2 a.m. it was quite dark. I noticed something in the lake but couldn't tell what it was and didn't really care. After a while, we went to our tents and slept. That night, I had some very strange dreams. I saw the pike moving its eyes and making sounds. The sky changed colors, and I saw a man in the lake, the water evaporating and precipitating again. The pike said something to the river, and suddenly I woke up sweating. I looked at my phone. It was still night. I was only 14 years old, my brain not fully developed, and underage drinking certainly didn't help. But I was scared. I had no idea why. It was the kind of fear where you just don't want to see something. I didn't want to open the tent. I stayed completely still and pretended to be asleep. I heard noises from the dream, noises that the head in the tree had made. I went rigid. I could feel the blood pumping through my body. I heard people shouting. The noises no more than 100 meters away, and it was more than 100 meters to the land. The island we were on was small. You could probably circle it in 5 minutes. The human voices continued. They were laughing and shouting. The laughter affected me the most. It was ugly, not like people having fun. At some point, I felt like someone was approaching our camp. I got scared and stayed completely still. Eventually, exhaustion must have overtaken me and I fell back asleep. I woke up early in the morning. My friend was already awake and I asked him if he had heard the noise. He said no. I wondered if it had all been a dream. Then I saw something in the lake. A man was standing there on some kind of rudimentary raft, 200 meters from us, looking in our direction. I couldn't make out any facial features. He looked pale. My heart started to beat faster. The man stayed there for a long time. We got so uneasy that we finally packed our things and went home. Fortunately, we had a motorboat, so he could never catch up to us. I still remember the way he looked at us as we left the lake and headed down the river. He just stayed there. Later, I realized what I saw in the lake the previous night in the dark was probably him. He had been standing there the whole time. He was responsible for the sounds I heard. He knew we were alone on the small island, and it wasn't really a place where drunk teenagers would go on spontaneous trips in the middle of the night. He put the fish head in the tree to scare people. We had stepped on his territory or something. And perhaps most importantly, why was he standing there on a raft in the lake? Did he step on the island while we were sleeping and was planning to do something to us? And who was he shouting and laughing at? I have no answers to any of these questions, and I haven't been back there since. Both my friend and I get a little nervous whenever someone mentions the man on the raft. In 2014, my girlfriend at the time and I decided to take an impromptu camping trip in Northern California. I'm not exactly sure of the location, but we were in Sacramento and drove about 4 hours along the I-5. We ventured into the hills and took some rather precarious roads. Once we found a suitable spot, we parked the car and walked about half a mile inland. We were truly in the middle of nowhere. We set up our tent and built a small fire pit about 25 meters away. The day went smoothly. We did the typical camping activities. When it was time to sleep, we extinguished the fire, got into the tent, zipped it up, and went to sleep. Here's where things get really strange. In the middle of the night, my girlfriend woke me up to tell me she was going to find a place to pee, but was having trouble getting out of the tent. "I can't find the zipper," she said. "It's gone." I got up to help her, and feeling around the walls, they indeed felt smooth. I grabbed the flashlight, and when I turned it on to investigate, we discovered the zipper was beneath us. All our belongings were in the same place we had left them, but we were sleeping on the door. We had to flip the tent over to get out, and when we finally did, we found ourselves right next to the fire pit we had built 25 meters away. We were terrified because it was impossible for both of us to have slept through the tent being moved with all our stuff staying in place. We stayed awake until the sun came up and left immediately. I still have no explanation for what happened. I've considered some pretty wild ideas, but this one will always stay with me as the strangest thing that's ever happened in my life.